All right, we are live. So good morning, everybody. We're just going to do our usual and wait for everybody to jump on.
Okay, I'm going to do some sharing for just a second.
Just for a second?
Yeah, for a minute, maybe.
Maybe a minute.
Maybe a minute.
Yep, we're live.
That's my share.
Hello, Lori. Good morning. Lori owns the building where I'm going to have my office.
Oh, very nice.
She's tolerated me for how many years now, Lori? 7, 5? We walked into her shop that she had years ago because it was finally somebody actually had I'll call it a woo-woo shop here in this area. So Sheila and I walked in one day and she's unfortunately had to put up with me ever since.
Okay, I think I'm about done.
Good morning. Morning, Hannah. Morning, Courtney. Hey, Jeremy. Hello, Jackie. Hope everybody's doing well this morning.
Good morning.
Just give us a few minutes.
We're doing the share thing and the waiting for people to hop on. How was the weekend? Michael and I were just talking about that.
7 years ago, Lori. Holy shoot. Yeah, the weekend?
Yes.
I worked.
You worked. I fought off an infection. It was awesome.
Oh, my goodness. So good morning, everybody. And Curtis, thank you so much for that comment. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody being here. We'll get started in a few.
Hey, Jan.
Yes, the weekend was short. Oh, Jan was saying more like you put up with her.
Hi, Kim.
Good to see everybody.
There's Jeremy. I can be a little crazy sometimes. Just a little.
We all can.
Yeah, we have to be. We were talking about that last week. We have to be crazy to do what we do at a certain level, right? So I'll take it.
I tell you.
Good morning, Tricia.
It should be my mantra that, I've said this over and over. It's like a medium. You definitely walk that line between batshit crazy and sane. So it's like you're right down that middle.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'll say that, Katie. Unique.
Yeah, that's
I've been told I'm unique.
Hello, Crystal.
I know what that really means.
It's a compliment.
It's a compliment.
Yes, it is.
So we do have a topic that we'd like to talk about, but as usual, if you guys have questions or want us to talk about anything, it's an open board here. Just throw them on there. We'll see.
Good morning, Amy.
Yes, Courtney, it does make you crazy sometimes.
I was just reading her comment, about to comment the very same thing to her. Good morning, Kathy. So I have my little cards with me again today.
Oh, no.
And yes, I do. But whatever. The struggle is real. The older I get.
I pull out my cards every time with the intention of using them, and then it's like I just set them off to the side because the stuff just starts pouring in. Yeah. And I'm like, put the cards down. I'm like, okay. All right. So, excuse me. I got my tea here. My throat's a little dry this morning. Yep, Kim, she has her magnifying glass. She's ready.
Yeah. It's right here.
So, Jen came up with the topic. So, do you want to start this off?
Well, let's see. We do have, Crystal did ask a question. My question is symbols. How do you know what is a symbol or just a thought?
I have an answer because I have the same question. And I just read this maybe a few days ago, literally. So I said from the beginning, and this is a tangent, I know that, but I'll share this. A lot of mediums use symbols or symbology to translate or interpret their messages from spirit. I've always said that I'm too stubborn and too impatient to learn about symbols. It's like I told spirit from the beginning, just talk to me, give it to me straight. I don't have the attention span for one. So I was like, just give it to me straight. But there are symbols that do pop in occasionally, and this is how I realized that they are in fact a symbol. And this is what I read to recently, is when it comes to a point where that same symbol is repeating itself. So start to pay attention. If you start to see that same symbol or symbols repeat, I would say take time to make a note about it, write it down, and then sit with it and see what comes to mind when you think about that symbol and what it means for you. Like I said,
see how it feels. Like I always try to see how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel peaceful? Is it unsettling? Like how does it feel when that symbol pops in? That's what will help me the most get to like the translation of it.
Yeah. So real quick example. A rose stands out for me, okay? But I'm very careful about if a rose comes up, like I'm delivering a message and all of a sudden somebody in spirit hands a rose to somebody. I usually ask them first, or I'll tell them, okay, I said, your person is showing me a rose. Now I have my interpretation of what that means, and I'll usually ask them, what does it mean for you? And most of the time when the rose comes up, it actually has a specific meaning to the person. And I know some mediums may flip that around and not ask that person, just give their interpretation. For me, it's like sending love. But the last few times that a rose has actually came up during a reading, it had like a very specific meaning to the person. So again, I don't work with them often, but that can be, one interpretation. And then Tony has a question. I've been to a few mediums, and very rarely do I have anyone come through for me. Do they normally only come through with a message if you truly need to hear from them? Well, I'll say this. And what comes to mind is like an environment like what we're doing now, like a group reading or Facebook Live. Yes, it seems to be that the ones who actually are in desperate need of a message, and I'm probably being overly dramatic with that, but they set up the event. Okay, so they'll come through because they know this person needs to hear this in the moment now. So yeah, some other spirits may step aside because they realize, no, your person needs to hear from you today. Like that's most important. Now, when you're one-on-one with a medium, it's hard to say this, but I'll say it anyway. When you see a psychic or a medium, what seems to be the normal is you're going to hear messages that you need to hear as opposed to what you may want to hear. So your person in spirit may share things with you that you weren't expecting, but they know it's what you need to hear in this moment to help you heal, to help you move forward through grief, whatever the case may be. And it's hard for, mediums because yes, we want you to hear everything that you want to hear. But again, we're just the instrument. So your person in spirit may be sharing, and I'm going on, this is two things, and I'll stop talking, I promise. So there's two things. One, for the mediums, okay, spirit, when their energy blends with ours, they're probably giving us 5 things that they want us to talk about. But our human mind can only comprehend, maybe 2 of those at that moment. So it may be that it's not that they're not sharing a message that you are expecting here. It's maybe we're not comprehending it. So again, we do our best to deliver whatever, I'll just use me, whatever I'm aware of, I will pass along. But again, I wouldn't be so disheartened to think that they're not showing up for you. because it's very rare. I can literally only count 2 times in probably the 7 years that I've been doing this that a person hasn't shown up. And usually it's because that person was so far deep in grief. And what's coming to mind is their person was only gone 2 weeks. The person passed 2 weeks. So again, I know that's probably not the answer you want, but that's my experience.
I do feel like that's pretty rare because I've had one, and it stands out really clear in my mind because I was slightly frustrated about it. I couldn't understand myself why I wasn't able to have that communication. Now, afterwards, I did know why. I knew why. It was almost just like what you were saying, Michael. But for the most part, they will come through, and even if it's not for the entire session, they'll come through. Like generally in a session, I mean, I have like kind of like one main person that I'm communicating with, but people in spirit belonging to the sitter other people will come in as well. And sometimes just so their presence is acknowledged. They don't really have a big long message, but they will pop through.
Yeah. And that brings up another point about the person coming through in spirit. Sometimes, again, I think it's important, and it's hard to do this, I understand this, to put your expectations about what you expect to receive during a reading. And I'll tell you this, there's 2 points here again, I'm sorry, but most of the time in my experience doing readings, information will come through that the person had on their mind, and they never even had a chance to ask that question because spirit knows what they need to hear. And usually they will come through with that. And I'm not aware of that. I just talk, whatever comes through. But you got to understand, sometimes the messages are quick. Sometimes they just want you to know that they are around you. So they'll share like what they see going on, and they'll make me aware of this. If you drop something in the kitchen, for instance, or, one comes to mind. I did a reading for a woman and that lost her husband, and she wanted to know if her husband had a message for her son. So immediately when she asked me that, her husband showed me St. Patrick's, and I didn't understand what the meaning was, but I said, he showed me St. Patrick's. There was something about St. Patrick's, either day or whatever, that's significant. But then in the same moment, I saw her son fishing with a friend, and I saw somebody getting a fish hook stuck in their thumb. And she couldn't validate it because her son wasn't there. But after the reading, she reached out to her son, and she's like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, St. Patrick's, that was the bar that Dad and I went to right before he passed. That was like the day we got just completely drunk and had to get a drive home. But then he said a week later, I was fishing, or after his dad's passing, shortly after that, my friend and I were fishing, and yeah, he got a fish hook stuck in his thumb. So again, in that moment, it's just Dad wanted to validate he is watching, he's around you. So again, it could be just that simple, quick message. Sometimes they will chat for 30 minutes straight. It's like, it's amazing how it goes. But I feel that you'll get the message that you're meant to hear in that moment. So
speaking of messages, Jessica Taylor, I want to talk to you really quick. For some reason, your name just keeps popping into me. Every time I see it, it's drawing my attention. And there's a male around me, a younger male, dark hair. And I'm drawn like right to you with him for some reason. I do feel he's very close in age to you. Can you validate that for me or no? I don't know why, but like her name. It's interesting too, because she also says that she's in a hurry, or she has a doctor's appointment. So yeah. I'm curious if that's not why he's just like, hurry.
And yes, Tony, really quick, Tony. Yeah.
Okay, you don't know Jessica? Okay. Then maybe he's not for you, but I want to go forward with him for just a minute, sure, if that's okay, Michael.
Yeah.
30, I want to say mid to late 30s. He has dark hair. He's kind of a bodybuilder built. Like he's not like big, but he's solid. Um, my heart races when he's near. Like I don't know what this is kind of going on with the heart. Um, let's see.
Paige is saying, I have somebody young and dark hair. He would be early 30s now.
Okay, give me just a minute. Let me ask him for something. So this is interesting because we just had Memorial Day. When I ask him for something, he shows me a flag. Paige, was he by chance in the military at all? I mean, 20 is pretty young. So I know he wouldn't have, if he was, he didn't. I don't know what this is, but he shows me a flag. And my mind just goes to Memorial Day because we just had that.
Worked for the railroad.
I do feel like he's showing me a flag on a headstone. He actually has a flag on his headstone, or somebody has placed it there. Just recently. So I'm okay. Your grandfather was in the army at that age. Okay, Jessica, that might make more sense to me because I'm like seriously just so drawn to you, and he's so strong. So maybe he's showing me, and this is a perfect example because we did just have Memorial Day, right? So he could be showing me the time that he was in the army because I see the flag, and I do connect him. I connect him to that holiday. Let me just ask him. Jessica, is your father passed? And is this grandfather your father's father? Because I feel a connection there. Oh, okay. And 5 other brothers all served in World War II. Okay, awesome. Can you tell me about this connection? Okay, here's what I want you to know. This is I do feel that the grandfather that is your father's father. I'm seeing that connection. I haven't seen you validate yet, but that's what I'm feeling. And the message here really is for you to know that that they come through together, like they are together. And I do see this flag. I do see this headstone. I don't know. I'm not. Ooh, there's some significance to that, and again, that could just be like how I'm able to validate who he is. But the message for you is that they're together. I do feel like he's telling me, your grandfather is telling me that he had your father's hand. Um, so know that, okay, he wasn't alone. I don't know, that seems to be what you need to hear is what I'm hearing for you. Okay, and I'm going to leave that with you and let him go, and then we'll go on. But I'm telling you, I know you have a doctor's appointment. What's funny is that he stepped right in like, come on. So off to your doctor's appointment. Good luck to you and lots of love to you.
I want to just touch on something really quick. Tony, going back to your question or about the reading, you said that you recently went to a group reading, or it wasn't intended to be a group reading, but you brought your friend. To me, when things like that happen at the last minute, like you decide to bring somebody with you, that was orchestrated by spirit. And just like you said, you brought this person with you and she got the messages. you
You're very
know.
welcome, Jessica.
So that does happen in a group reading. And again, it's
Yeah,
divinely guided, I believe. So
and I
yeah.
don't usually just know who it's for, but man, I'm telling you, her name was just boom, boom. I'm like, sorry, Michael. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but I was really being prompted.
no, no
That's
worries.
what we're
And
here for, right?
exactly. So yeah, the group
Okay,
reads.
so um Aaron or who said, oh, Jessica, good. That's awesome. That's just more validation for you.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, thank you, Aaron.
What do you?
Um, oh, I was just gonna ask if anyone had any questions they wanted to pop up.
As I say, we didn't even get to the topic we were going to talk about, but maybe that'll
Yeah,
have to wait.
we can save it.
Isn't that the way it goes? That's why I was like, I have an idea usually, but then it's like it always just goes out the window because,
Yeah.
and I'm absolutely fine with that because I this is where it needs to go.
Let's see.
So Christina is asking about. I'm going to pin your comment, Christina.
Okay.
Um, so you'd like to know about your gifts and if I'm on the right path. Um, I'll say this first. Yes, a medium or psychic can tap into your energy and see if it's like a really dominant trait that you have this ability, but all of us have this ability to some degree or not. But I think what sets people apart are the ones that want to pursue this in a way. You're going to feel it. There's like this knowing, like there's something I need to at least explore with this. Um, so if you're having these feelings like I need to find out what is going on. Why am I having these feelings? Why am I being pulled to think about this? You know, I would think my interpretation of that would be that it's something that your soul is kind of giving you that nudge. You need to look into this. Where it's going to go, I can't tell you. That's a journey that you're going to have to make on your own. But if you're feeling that pull, I would say definitely explore it. And my best advice would be to take a development course of, some sort, either a beginning, intuition or mediumship course. At least explore and see what that brings you. Does that pique your interest and curiosity even more to take you to that next step? Does it, pull you to start maybe working with it in some way? Um, and that's how it was for me. I mean, I'll tell you right now, and I've said this before, I didn't want to be a medium. That was like the furthest thought from my mind in the beginning. But then, I won't get into my story here, but there's just this series of events that happened. And all of a sudden it was in my face, like, okay, something's going on here. And even at that point, I was reluctant. I was like, no, this isn't me. But there was something there. It kept pulling me to just take another step, look into this. And someone literally said, why don't you take a class? I took a class. It was a beginning intuition class. And it literally was so simple, but it taught me, it was a 4-week class. Each week was it was learning about the clairs. So week 1 was about clairaudience, then clairvoyance, and then the 2 other ones, whatever at the time. But what that sparked in me was I had this mindset about what a medium or psychic was. And I always thought in my mind that if you were a medium, you saw spirit like you saw people. So I didn't see people like that, or spirit. So I thought, well, I'm not a medium. And then I took this class. And the very second when we explored clairvoyance, I learned that it's internal and you see images in your mind. I was like, holy crap, the light bulb just freaking went on like nobody's business. And it was like, holy crap, I experience that all the time. And then one thing just turned into another, and it just pulled me to explore more and pulled me to actually start working with it. And then it was just off to the races. So, um, yeah, I'm long winded today. I'll just say that. So be prepared.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's happening again. Jeremy, I need to ask you a question. First of all, I think that you're still on here. I think I just saw your name go by. Um, And again, it just popped out to me. But I do believe that this is your mother. And I want to ask you a question. Was your mother in a wheelchair? It's very important. Let's see. He hasn't answered me yet. Sorry, I'm just going to wait for Jeremy to answer that really quick. Okay, I'm not seeing it. If you see it pop through, would you let me know? Because I'm just going to go forward. So, kind of. Okay. Okay, that's very important, Jeremy. Thank you, because I want to tell you something. What I'm seeing, I as your friend, I do know the situation with your daughter, but it's really important because I see your mother sitting in like this wheelchair, and it's really important for you to know that your daughter is not alone, that you are doing the right thing, you're doing what needs to be done. I feel like you've really been questioning that, and it's really important for you to know. I feel like your mother really, when she was living, was a caretaker for your daughter, and she took care of her. She's still doing that. Super important for you to know that she knows her. She knows her on her level. That's what I feel like this is about right here. So I'm just going to I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that with you, Jeremy. Okay, sorry. I don't know this why this is happening this way. And I promise I'm not
Don't worry
I'm not
about
trying
it.
to leave anyone out. It's like wild.
That's how it goes. We know that. All right, let's see here. Okay. I'm in a fog over here. I'm like, so many things are going through my head right now. I'm just like, all right, let's try to focus here. I'm just going to scroll back through comments.
I'm just reading Jeremy's.
Doreen.
Yep, she's not alone. That's what you need to know, Jeremy. She's being taken care of.
Doreen, right when I saw your comment, the first thing that comes to mind is that right now it's like you're in this phase. You need to learn to love yourself. I feel that maybe it's something you say, but I think it's like a time to really dig in deep and actually appreciate who you are. Because I feel there's some healing that needs to take place, and that's maybe why it hasn't happened yet. But I feel that you really need to concentrate and put effort into loving yourself first. I just feel that's very important. I know it's a quick message, but that's just what I'm feeling.
That actually kind of goes with the topic we were going to talk about earlier, like positive affirmations to ourselves, about ourselves,
mm-hmm.
and about the situations and the things going on around us.
Because I'm slow. It's taken me years to comprehend that, self-talk really is toxic. Or I should say negative self-talk is really toxic. But, it's a very common question that, I see during readings is, will I find that significant other? And I'll tell you, I've slowly started to recognize a theme with that question. The answer it usually follows is you're in this period of being by yourself for a reason. And it's not to be looked at as a negative thing, like nobody wants you. No, that's the furthest thing from the truth. But the common message with that is it's a time for you to just sit with yourself and learn to be okay with yourself. Because if you're not okay with yourself, I think it's has a track record of when you do find somebody that it's not going to last. So I think it's just a moment where you need to just be okay with yourself, or learn to be okay with yourself, and be comfortable with being with yourself. So don't take it as a negative if you are alone. There's a reason for it.
I have a gentleman here in his I feel like he's in his 60s, maybe his mid to late 60s. He wears a cowboy hat. He something about horses. I feel like somebody here may have his horses or a horse from him. Um, he comes in as a father. I also feel like that he had a very quick. I mean, I feel like unexpected. I know that seems very strange, like maybe just a heart attack, because deaths are always unexpected. I mean, for the most part, but I feel like maybe there was really like no history, and it just kind of happened. So I'm going to wait just a second. That's pretty specific. So if you like with this something about the horses, so if you can connect with that, please let me know. And we wait. That's what Michael says.
I was going to go to Anthony's question really
Okay.
quick. But again, Anthony, you're the only one that's going to be able to answer that. And that takes time. It takes you sitting with yourself, if you want to call it meditation. But what do you feel? Ask yourself that question, okay? And this is what I want you to do. Don't try to get an answer in your head, but move your awareness to your gut. Okay? So when you ask yourself, first ask yourself, am I supposed to start working on healings? What feeling does that invoke? And you know that gut feeling, either it's a good feeling or a negative feeling, right? So just ask yourself that question and see what you get into it intuitively, because I don't feel it's a medium's job or psychic's job to tell you, yes, you need to do healings. If it comes up during the reading, if I feel that a healing is something that's a part of you that you need to explore, that's how it'll come up. But it'll never be that you need to do healing, if that makes sense. But again, feel into it. What do you feel about that?
Let's see.
Cheyenne. I'm pulled to Cheyenne real quick. I'm going to pin this for Cheyenne.
Okay, Jacqueline, I'll get to you in just a minute.
So Cheyenne, let me just see what comes through, Cheyenne. I can't promise anything during a group reading, but just let me see what comes into my awareness as I read your question. So the first thing that comes to mind is your dad feels guilty about living his life going forward. But what I feel your mom is saying is like, tell him it's okay to live. That's why he's still here. He needs to live. I feel like he's carrying this guilt about allowing himself to be happy. And I feel that's what's holding him in this grief, if that makes sense. But the message that I'm feeling with this really, really strong is like, she has given him permission to be happy. She wants him to be happy. She's also making me feel like, tell him to stop denying the signs that she's giving, because she's communicating with him. I think he's just thinking this isn't real. But I just feel like she's saying, like, it's real. So be open to these signs. She makes me feel like she left a feather for him. So if he's finding a feather or found a feather, that's from her. She's also bringing up a song. There's a song that they had or is familiar, because she's making me feel like he's hearing this familiar song that reminds him of her. And again, she's saying, that's from me. That's from me. I know this is a quick message, but I think that's really the quick, just, it's okay. It's okay. Please don't feel guilty about going forward and being happy. She wants him to be happy. Thank you,
Oh, you're
Crystal.
welcome,
Have a good
Crystal.
day. All right.
Okay, so I saw a few comments about this person in spirit, and I have to tell you guys that without asking for a bunch of validation from you guys, I'm not feeling it connect. Because I feel like every single one of these things have to match because they're that clear to me. So I'm just going to kind of, he's not going to go anywhere. So I'm just going to kind of let him be. And if some more information comes in or I feel that it connects, then I'll go forward.
Really quick too, Cheyenne, your mom is making me feel this too, that your dad keeps playing this over in his mind. It's like, I should have gone first. I should have gone first. So it's almost like he's carrying like survivor's guilt. And she's saying, please stop that. Please stop that. And I'll try to leave it at that. But that was coming through really strong. Like he's living with survivor's guilt. And she's like, no, let that go.
All right, let's look.
Courtney, is there an anniversary that's coming up or would have been an anniversary? Because right when I read your comment about hearing from your husband, I immediately felt like an anniversary was like either just passed or is coming up. I don't know. Does that make sense? Again, when I read your comment, I saw like anniversary, July 31st. Let me just give this a minute then, Courtney. Hold on. Let me see if I can connect. I just want to take a minute here. Usually I'll try to validate stuff by giving you like passing in that, but I just feel like he wants to just come right in with a message. So I'm just going to go with this. So first, he wants to acknowledge how proud he is of you and the steps you have taken going forward since his passing. I don't know if you have children, but I'm seeing like the acknowledgement of children and the work that you've done with your children going forward. Um, I mean, naturally, when we find ourselves in that situation, there's this feeling of how can I go on without him? But what he's making me feel, it's like his passing has given you an insight of the inner strength that you didn't know you had. And that's what he's highlighting. It's like he's also making me feel like you may have struggled with your self-worth or holding yourself back with fear, with feelings, I can't do this or I can't do that. I know this is really quick and really intense, but he's saying it's like my passing, look at the positives that's coming out of this. It's like awaken this ability for you to see that you're more than you were giving yourself credit for, if that makes sense. Does anything I'm saying make sense? But that's what your husband is making me feel. But he's like, I mean, he is just clapping his hand and just saying like, literally like, bravo, you are doing an outstanding job going forward. And he just wants you to know that he is supporting you in every way. He also says he hears you when you talk to him. So continue to talk to him because he hears you. I know that's really quick, Courtney, but that's what he wants to express right now in this moment. So hopefully that makes sense to you.
Michael, can you pin Rosie's comment?
Sure. Where is Rosie?
She's up just a little bit.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
So Rosie, I was using your comment caught my eye. So I was here doing my cards, and I pulled a card, and this is just extremely interesting to me because it's the horse card. So I don't know, like, I'm just going to go forward with this horse card really quick. It's about freedom. It's about freedom to express yourself, freedom to be who you are. I feel like maybe some of that is being hindered just a little bit. And I also feel like it might be being hindered by like outside forces, like you letting somebody or something kind of get into your head a little bit. You got to remember who you are, and you got to give yourself the freedom to do that. I don't know what I feel like this is, but it's like a little bit of stuckness. That I don't even know if that's a word.
We make up our own words here.
Yeah, we just make up our own stuff as we go along.
No rules.
Yeah. Stuckness, like that's the word.
I'm going to use that now.
I also feel some change. I also feel some change is happening. That might make you a little bit uncomfortable. And so it's just a matter of kind of like processing those, but just remember that you have the freedom to do that, I guess. Remember, this kind of goes back to what Michael and I wanted to talk about earlier. Remember your thinking process. Remember the positive affirmations. Like I feel like Michael almost did a reading just like this. Anyway, I'm going to leave that with you, Rosie. Let me know. Just let me know if you can validate any of that. Because there's something else, maybe, possibly. I'm going to let it go though for a minute.
Oh, Courtney, I'm glad that made sense for you. I'm glad that you received that message. She said, I literally just told him 3 days ago. I hope he's proud of me.
Good.
And see, I just proved something to myself. I got to share this because I think it's a lot of things mediums go through. You know, we have this preconceived, we have to go in this order. We have to get, all right, I got to validate him first. Instead of just knowing, all right, you're here, you want to hear from your husband. I feel him come in. I feel him right away with a message. But my human mind wants to go to, all right, first I need to know, what's your name? How did you pass? Give me something like, how did you work? Instead of just, I feel his message like very strong. It's like, no, tell her I'm proud of her, for instance. But we always have to go through this, or we want to go through this checklist. It's like, yeah, get out of our own way. You know, just translate the message. This is what he wants you to hear in this moment, you know? So again, thank you for validating that for me, because a lot of us will think, well, that's vague. Yes. You know, yeah, he's proud. Well, you know, that's the medium's mind. Well, that's too vague. Where for you, it made sense. You just asked him for that message. So thank you for sharing that feedback with me, because it definitely helps me too. So thank you.
Amy, do you see Amy's question?
Amy.
My sister.
Uh-oh.
So no, what's funny on here though, I just have to say this because she's my sister, but she's saying she's not unhappy, just feeling dissatisfied and restless. And then she says gratitude problem maybe. But what makes me laugh, that's in our DNA, Amy, that restlessness. Like I'm telling you, some of that comes from my father, but you know that. and I'm just being told that, but I'm being told that I feel like you need to look at that. Honestly, that just came to be that it's like, it's kind of a generational thing. It's kind of just a thing. We all have that. And I think that it's in our mindset, but for some reason, I'm just being called to tell you to look at that and analyze that. And you'll get some answers from that.
Well, thank you, Courtney. All right. I know the force is strong.
Very.
Um, wow, it's just the energy today is just crazy. I feel so many
It
damn
is
different things. I'm like pulled in like
same. And so I'm almost wondering if I'm going to go to cards for a minute and see if I can, like, because the energy is very, very strong. Oh, I'm glad that makes sense to you, Rosie. Um, let's do this. Does anybody have a specific question, not related necessarily to mediumship, but maybe like a guidance question or just a question?
because that would actually, yeah, the more specific. I know I understand general questions because that's usually what I when I'm watching somebody else's live. That's what I'm just like, yep, just give me something general because I usually don't have anything on my mind, and that's absolutely fine. But if you have specific questions, it actually helps us, especially in a forum like this. It helps just zone into that really quick, and we get that initial gut feeling of, yep, this is it, or this is what I'm getting.
Yeah, and
Um,
then we can go a little bit deeper, but I mean, it just makes it a little bit quicker.
oh, Tony, I know that question. Should I leave my job? I have been struggling with that for 3 years, and nobody could tell me the answer. Nobody will tell you the answer. Only you're going to know when it's time, and you're going to feel it. I know that's, believe me, this is like I'm looking at myself in a mirror saying this because that's the guy exactly what's been told to me. You're going to know. You're going to know, and I'm like, oh great, I'm going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to get a sign. I'm going to get a symbol, and no shit, it finally happened where it hit me like a ton of bricks and there was no denying it was like, no, it's time. And again, I gotta really be specific with this. Spirit did not tell me you need to leave your job now. They're not going to say you need to do this. It's a gut feeling. I knew it was time. It was still my decision, but I knew it was like, no, it's time. It's time. And I followed it.
Tony has a question, and this is an interesting question. They reach out through you. How do we here on Earth reach them? So I kind of feel like the question that are you asking that they reach out to like me and Michael and mediums, and how do we reach them? Everybody reaches them the very same way. It's a shift in awareness. You can actually ask. You can ask a question. You can different things, but I want to ask you a question because I feel has your son passed? Because I want to tell you that I feel like your son has passed. And did he have a sickness that he passed from? Yes and yes. So is that about the son and the illness? He wants you to know. He wants you to know that he's okay. Don't feel like that he's showing me this wasn't an easy illness. This wasn't easy for him. This wasn't easy for you. You've had a lot of guilt over this. You've had a lot of sadness over this, and you've wondered why. There's something with this, Tony, he says is not in vain. Um, uh, there's something about his condition I feel that maybe was learned about. Can you validate that for me? Or some kind of experimental treatment? I don't know. But he says that that it was not that it's what he went through has helped others learn to help others with what he was going through. So he's just letting you know there was a bigger purpose to that and that you were a part of that with him. Does that make any sense to you? No. Okay. Does that make any sense to anybody? Because the sun is here. He was an old soul. Therese, the answer to your question, when people are put in transition, can they be in multiple places at the same time? Absolutely, because energy is fluid, right? It's not bound by time, space, and all of that. It's how sometimes Michael and I will connect to the very same person. And that same person can be, yes, the answer is yes.
Tony, was there any kind of foundation set up for your son? I keep seeing foundation, like something was like
Okay,
it,
he had 3 open hearts and he died at 13 of sepsis. Okay, so this could so he did have an illness, a long-term illness, and he did have to have some surgeries. He did have to have some stuff because I really feel connected to you with this. Um, so maybe your no was a no on something else. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to go forward with this. Okay. He is showing, and again, I may be translating some of it wrong, but I do feel really connected to you with this son and this illness, and I do feel that he was young. And he is saying to you that this was not in vain. I do feel still there was some learning on this for somebody somewhere along the way in the medical field that may help somebody previously. Or not previously, but if this should happen again. He's telling me this very, very strongly. So it's important for you to know that. It's also important for you to know that he knows that you took care of him, that he knows that this was hard. That this and it's very, very important. And again, here we go with the like feeling generic thing, but that it's okay. He also does send you signs, Tony. You're missing them. I'm going to tell you what I see. Then this is really odd, but it's scraps of paper. They could send things in different ways. I don't know if he wrote a lot or if he drew a lot. I don't know what that's about, but I'm seeing scraps of paper. From him to you. And so this is sometimes why things are easy to overlook, but this is going to be a scrap of paper that is just suddenly there. You get them. Perfect. Know that your question of does he send me signs? Like I in my mind, I feel like you're really torn, like you feel like he's not reaching out to you and sending you signs. You got him. Okay. And so that's what I want you to know. So pay a little bit more attention. Pay attention to those scraps of papers. I feel like maybe start putting them in a jar. And you will be surprised. And you will know that those are messages from him. And anytime that you're really missing him, just go back to that jar and hold one of those pieces of paper. That's what I'm hearing for you. Okay. I hope that helps, Tony.
I just would like to add something onto that because I keep feeling this over and over. So he brings me to the last surgery, and I feel like this was supposed to be like the end all surgery. Like this was supposed to fix everything. This should have been the last surgery. That's what I feel like the doctors were saying. Like, okay, we got this. This should be the last surgery. And then the sepsis kicked in or experienced that. He just wants you to let that go, and it's hard. It's hard for him to say it, but he wants you to let that feeling go that it wasn't supposed to go this way. I got to share this because he's bringing me to what he's doing now. Okay, because he doesn't want you to focus on when he was here and he was dealing with his illness. He really wants you to understand where he is now, what he's experiencing now, and he shows me running track. So I don't know if this is something that he wanted to do while he was here in the physical world, but he's just showing, he's like, look at me, I'm running track now. And he really wants to impress upon you that all those physical limitations that he dealt with here, those are gone. So yes, it's very hard and it's sad that he's not here in the physical world, but he wants you to understand that he's free now and experiencing everything that he wanted to do here. I don't know what this means, but he immediately took me to a chimney on a house and smoke. Was there a fire or something about a fire? I don't feel like this was something devastating, but for instance, it was just weird that in that moment he shifted me to, and I'm seeing the top of a roof on a home, and he shows me the chimney, and there's something about the smoke. I don't know. So that was just random. Maybe it'll make sense later, but no, he's making me feel this. There's something about a bird's nest being in a chimney. So I'll just leave you with that. It may make sense later or something about a bird's nest in a chimney that he's laughing about. Again, if I see it, feel it, hear it, I'm going to say it. So I'll just leave you with that.
You're very, very welcome, Tony. It's okay. You can cry.
Yeah.
Do it.
But did the track thing make sense? Is sports or something like that? Is that something he always wanted to do but couldn't? No, I don't feel this is reference to quitting smoking. This is it was very specific, so maybe it'll make sense later. Okay.
Hannah Remington.
Hello, Hannah. She works in the shop that I'm gonna have my office at.
Oh, does she?
She's into crystals. Oh my God, she's amazing when it comes to crystals.
Okay, so I don't know, but I feel a separation of some kind happening. And I don't know if, and I kind of feel like it's related to personal, but can you tell me if that connects with you, Hannah?
And I know too much, so I'm not going to jump in because I did her reading for her.
I know how that goes. A bit, yeah. Okay. Boy, so I just feel like I need to tell you, hang on just a second. It's this separating of something that I see, and I'm not seeing it much more clear than this kind of separating of things. Here's what I feel like I need to tell you. I feel like there might be a little bit of like chaos around it for just a little bit, and not like crazy chaos, but things might be a little bit like confusing and not as clear. But that's not going to be long term. I feel like that it's whatever's happening, I feel like it's coming together to come apart to something else. So that transition, I feel like, is going to happen fairly quickly and fairly smoothly, not without bumps, but fairly smoothly. So I don't know if you can take that or not, but that's what I'm hearing.
Hey, Tony, one more thing, because your son's still here. He's making me aware of this. Does he wake you up in the morning with whispering in your ear? Because he shows me like whispering in your ear, like saying, I love you. But he shows me like either waking you up with this and you're like, wow, did I just dream that? But he's making me feel like you need to know that's real. That's him visiting you. So I just wanted to throw it out because he wouldn't let that go.
You're welcome, Hannah. I saw a comment a little while ago. It's clear up there, so I don't expect you to find it. Tocino guy. If you are still here, if you're still here, pop up and let me know, and we'll go forward until I see that. Okay. Welcome, Joanna.
I wanted to go back to Casey Carson. Oh, Aaron, I just quit crying now. I start again. Sorry. It's okay. It's okay to cry. Casey, I'm trying to find your comments. I know it was a little ways back, but there's.
Okay, so you had asked. There he is. You had thought that possibly you had a message from Spirit coming through, and then for whatever reason, this like randomly came up, right? So you were wondering if there was a message for you. I want to tell you, like I do know about you, right? Because we are friends on Facebook. So I just want to be honest about that. But what I am hearing for you is, there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of self-doubt going on. I know that you're trying to start something, and I know that you're trying to start something that is your passion and you have a love for. Here's what I need to tell you. Don't forget about the passion and the love. Don't get caught up in the bullshit of the other stuff to where you forget to love what you're doing, okay? Because your passion for it and your love for it is what is going to fuel it. You put your heart and your soul into it, and not just going through the motions. For some reason, I feel like it's really important that you remember to not forget about the joy and the passion in what you're doing, because you're going to be successful at it. You're going to be really good at it. I will tell you something really interesting is I almost messaged you the other day, except that I know you don't just do like messengers, like just like random messages from people. Because you were looking for something. You were looking for a haunted location, and I'm your girl. So the next time you're looking for one for a project, let me know.
Does he do something with wood carving or something to do with like sculpture? I just see this as you're
I
talking.
I don't know if he does anything with sculpture. I know that he's very, very artistic. He does photography. He does. In fact, I have a beautiful picture of his up here on my wall. Uh, he does short films,
Oh wow.
filmmaking. He's very artistic, so but I don't know about sculpturing. He may. I don't know.
Okay, Casey, I'm going to get to this because Casey, I went back and I found your message. So you're asking, like, you have abilities and you're wondering where do I go to or what do I do next? Here we go. I'm going to pin your comment. Casey, are you still here? If not, you can watch the replay. I'll just talk. So you're asking, how can I develop and hone in my sensitivity? I feel presences and recognize them and often dream of them. But what can I do to develop this? It's really, really simple, but not really. What I would say is you need to start practicing it. And I know it's uncomfortable, but this is exactly what I did because in the beginning, yeah, I had a development course, but it was just very basic, intuitive, as I said earlier, intuitive class just to help understand a few things. But any class is just going to give you tools. What I did is I started a Facebook group, a private group where I wasn't going to get bombarded by, outsiders, where I could feel safe. But I just started doing readings for people. I just started doing readings. I would ask for volunteers. They would sit and I would just talk about whatever came up. And that is literally the only and best way you can figure out who you are. Because I'll tell you this, the journey never ends. You're going to start with one thing and then other abilities will open up that you weren't expecting. But the only way you're going to develop is by actually doing it. And there's no easy way around it. That's the way to do it. You have to start practicing it in some way. Start working with friends, people you feel comfortable with, and just see where it leads you. But literally, and I'm feeling like you do need to take a class because I think there's something in these classes that's going to kind of just wake up the possibilities, and like you're going to have those aha moments like, yeah, that happens. And it's going to kind of give you like a roadmap in a way. But again, the only way to do it is to practice doing it. You need to do it. So hopefully that helps. And it wasn't just a bunch of senseless rambling.
Also, one more thing for Tocino. I'm also hearing for you to be very discerning in who you align yourself with your business. Really, really look at the partnerships.
Joanna, that I'm going to pin that because that's an interesting question. So when you do a reading and you get a message from spirit, is spirit an angel? I've had angel experiences and wondered if it was spirit. So, all right, I'll try to just make this quick. So you're right in every aspect. Spirit is spirit. Spirit, the way we believe to be, is we are spirit. We are soul. So when we're here in the physical, we are a soul that inhabits a body. Once we leave this body, we are now in spirit. We are spirit in the spirit world. Spirit and angels are two different entities. Angels, the way it's theorized, is angels have never physically incarnated. So they remain in the realm, the spirit realm, the angelic realm. So I've been told this so many times, and I am getting used to their energy, but I do communicate with angels, and it's a whole different level. And at first, I didn't realize because it just comes so naturally to me, but it just happens. But as I pay attention, there's a definite vibrational difference between communicating with spirit and communicating with angels. Angels, it's like, I'll just try to describe this. it's like a floaty feeling. That's how I feel when I'm in that realm and communicating with them. It's almost like it makes me like jerk in my seat because I feel like I'm having a dizzy spell, for instance. But I know that's just when I've just elevated to their vibration, if you will. Um, so again, I have to share this too because I think this is going to be a message for other people. Pay attention to when you do communicate. What does it feel like? Like for me, with my guide, it took me 3 years to finally realize I was communicating with my guide because spirit was always parallel to me. They were always on my left or right. When my guide showed up, I feel their presence right here above my forehead. And then with angels, that's a whole nother level. Like I said, I feel like I'm floating. So again, it's taken me years to realize that, but I hope that helps.
That's really interesting because you want to know, I just drew something the other day. But my very first experience, well, not my first, but maybe my second, I was about 6 years old. I remember very clearly waking up in the night and there was an angel at the foot of my bed and she was floating. And I remember I wasn't scared. I knew she was an angel. I could see her so clearly. And but I do remember because I was so young, I remember thinking like it was the tooth fairy and the tooth fairy wasn't an angel. Because I told my mom, I saw the tooth fairy. My mom was like, well, you didn't even lose a tooth. What do you like? No, you didn't. But I called her that for about a year. And then I realized that, no, this was actually an angel. And what's really interesting is I just drew a picture of her the other day. Can you see it?
Wow.
I just like sat down, I started drawing, and then somebody asked me what that was. And I said, it's an angel. That's the angel I saw. And then it just like came to me. So, but yeah, they're a very, very, very different feeling and a very, very different vibration and so calm and beautiful. And
what's weirder yet, since we're talking about angels, the last 2 times I've been on, I don't know, I can't remember who I was talking with, but there was a couple video Zoom chats that I did with somebody here recently. And both times I saw this, it wasn't an orb. It was like circling above my head, but it had a shape to it. I saw wings and it was like, holy crap, what the hell is that? But this has been around me the last couple times I've done lives, and it's actually the person that's been there has also seen it. So it's like weird stuff.
okay, there's a question on here, and I can't see the person's name. I can only see it says Facebook user. She's talking about having donated her son's heart when he passed away, and wondering if her son has fully passed over or if somehow donating his heart has stopped him from
Oh
crossing.
God, no, absolutely
Not. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that you knew that. Not at all.
Absolutely not.
My son.
Was your son killed in like a vehicle accident of some sort? I mean, as I tune in, I just feel like this was definitely suddenly unexpected. But and was there other organs that were donated? But I just feel like this was a really hard decision for you to make, but I feel like he's praising you and thanking you for doing this.
Yeah, she says yes.
Okay. I think that's yes to how he passed. But okay, good. Okay. Well, I don't know if you know about me, but I had a kidney transplant 11 and a half years ago. So obviously it touches me that you made that tough decision, but other people benefited, and that's what your son is just praising you for. Again, the feeling is I didn't die in vain. Look at everything that positive that came out of my passing. So thank you for making that decision. And that's a thank you for your son too. I got to talk about this, but even though your son was young when he passed, was there ever conversations about organ donations if somebody passed? Because I get this feeling like this this was a discussion at some point with somebody in the family. So I don't know if this was something that was talked about before his passing, but without realizing that this was going to happen. I just get this overwhelming feeling that this may have been something that was discussed. No, never. Okay. Yes,
Oh,
with my mother.
with mother.
Okay. But again, from your son, he's just thanking you for making that decision.
I also feel like I need to tell you this. He hears you when you talk to him. He says you might not believe it because that was something that you would always say, like, you never listened to me. But he says that he listens to you. Okay. So know that as well. Know that as well. But he is laughing about the whole you never listened to me.
I got it. Again, I just throw out what I'm feeling, but we feel your son here. Was he into motorcycles or something? Because I'm being brought back to when I was a kid. I mean, I've been into motorcycles my entire life, but there's this smell about exhaust and gas that was a very, very familiar smell when you rode motorcycles. And I don't know, do you smell this smell? There's just something about the smell of the exhaust and the fuel and that scent. I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm like really aware of this sensation right now. Which, yes, oh my God, LOL.
Oh, I think that was about the not listening.
Oh, okay.
That was a conversation they had quite often.
Okay.
That is my brother. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So okay. So that's letting me know that he is here also. So your son is not alone.
Yes. That's awesome.
So that's how they work. Because all of a sudden I'm smelling this gas, fuel. I love that smell. I mean, I know unless you ride motorcycles, you don't get it. But oh my God, that smell was like, that was summertime for me when I was a kid. It was like, and every time I smell it now when I ride, it just brings me back to those days where.
And I also feel like you're going to smell that smell, just like maybe at what's going to seem like it's random, and just know that when you smell that smell, that's your brother. And like Michael said, your son is with him. So just know that that's another one of those signs.
All right, I got to throw this out there because your son's making me well aware of this, and I wish I could see your name because all it is Facebook user. But I don't know if you had a close call with a vehicle accident, but your son is making me feel like he helped you avoid a vehicle accident at some time. I'm just seeing this, so I wanted to talk about it really quick. If it makes sense, great. If not, okay, I'll just let that go. But thank you for being open. I'm glad we could connect in some way with your son. And Jeanette, okay. Well, nice to meet you. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. And it's funny because we were just talking about angels. So I feel like your son is an angel, angel on earth, an earth angel. So spot on vehicle. Okay. So just know that your son helped you in that situation. Awesome. And just he takes me back to the first question you were asking if he was completely crossed over.
Yeah, me too.
Like, absolutely, yes, he is. He goes, I'm good. I'm good. You need to be good. You need to be good.
Okay, I'm going to scroll back through some comments.
You're welcome. And again, I'm thanking you for everything, for that decision you made to donate organs. my donor is living. He's a friend of mine that was in the military with me, and I mean, I just have to share this, that I wouldn't be here doing this without him. So
thank you, Aaron. Okay, maybe we should pull some cards, Michael.
yes.
We've just got a couple more minutes. I think I know that there's somebody. I wish I could think of their names now. I was going to write it down, let everybody know. There is another show that's following us on things right at 1. So,
okay.
So that's what I'm saying. We have like, what, 15, 14, 13 minutes, whatever. But we probably want to hop off just maybe a minute early so that, or whatever, so they can get on. Yeah. Hello, Brian. Okay, so I have the animal cards. They're so hard. I love these cards. They're just tiny. Or I have these self-care cards. I'm really just pulled to the animal cards. So we're just going to go there and you're going to have to deal with me learning. Because I'm still learning to work with them. Jeremiah, I am going to say yes, in my experience. And that's just, it is manageable though. That's the thing. Until we learn to manage it, absolutely. Once we learn to manage it, not so much. Because as empaths or sensitives, intuitives, whatever, we do feel a lot of things. We feel them, at least I do. And I feel like I feel all of the things. It's really about learning to observe and not absorb, which is extremely hard to do, but can be done to a degree to kind of stop that. You recognize it. So that's one of the very first things right there is recognizing it. And you just need to learn to understand what is yours to carry and what is not yours to carry. So one thing that helped me was when I started to feel that way, I would actually have to sit down and ask myself, what am I actually having a breakdown over? And is that mine to carry? Or did that come from maybe a super sad reading? Or did that come from a place that I was at that just felt yucky? Or did that come from somebody else's anger? You have to break it down, and then you have to know what is not yours, and you have to let that go.
And that's where meditation can help, because that took me a while to, and this is recent, this is probably like 2 years ago, where I used to, out of nowhere, all of a sudden start feeling really depressed. And I'm like, why? I just got up. Why am I depressed? I started to recognize a pattern that if I was doing a group reading that evening or a reading, sometimes that spirit person that wanted to come through would begin hanging around with me that day, that early, and I would feel their energy. And I would finally I learned to just sit for a second if I had those feelings and go, okay, is this me or is this spirit? And I was like, okay, I would sit and I would just focus on my energy, what I normally feel like, and nope, I feel this presence with me. So learn what your energy feels like when you're sitting by yourself. Just sit for 5 minutes in meditation and just do like a top head to feet scan of just how does your energy feel when you're just sitting there just by yourself. Get very used to that. And that's easily, a way for you to recognize, is this me or is this something around me? If that makes sense.
Yes. Thank you, Rosie. It's simply spooky from that's coming on from 1 to 3. So following us. Yeah, it's so hard. And you have to learn to do it. But I think Michael said it really well. Like when you know what your own energy in silence feels like, then you understand when it shifts. If you pay attention. I've always said this, mediumship for me at least, being intuitive is not in my mind. It's actually in my body. I feel the shifts. I feel the energetic shifts, which then, does whatever does up here and then comes out the mouth. But it always starts in my body. It starts with a feeling. It starts with a shift in the energy. Very subtle.
I just decide, no, I'm looking at I need a freaking tan. I'm like glowing in the dark, fucking white. Holy hell. I'm like,
So maybe when we plan our haunted things later this summer, we go somewhere where there's a lot of sun.
I was just on a call with Tony, who I'm taking the mentoring class with. He's in Florida and he was tan. I'm looking at myself. I'm like, holy shit, dude! I got to get out in the sun. I'm glowing, and not in a good way.
You're welcome, Jeremiah. Oh, I actually want to talk about something just really quick. I want to, because I do believe that there are a lot of people on here that are empaths, intuitives, sensitives, all of those things. I want to talk about being able to get your own message from spirit and how you can do that.
That's freaking weird, because that was what I was thinking of talking about before we got on the show today, and I totally was like, nah.
I see.
Wow.
So let's talk about it, because we have a lot of people wanting messages, and then we can pull a card that's good for, a card for everybody.
See, that was me ignoring my intuition, saying, nah, people are tired of hearing about that.
Yeah.
And here we go.
So there are ways to get your own message, and a lot of that starts with there's so many ways. You can simply ask. One way that I do a lot of times is I will ask, and then I'll sit. I'll do what is called automatic writing. I will sit and I will just start writing. You can write the question. It's all in your intentions. You can actually write the question down on a piece of paper and leave it. Let it sit somewhere. You can come back, and you'll know. You'll get the message. You'll know. Another thing I've started doing is drawing now instead of writing. I'll sit down with a piece of paper and a pencil, and I'll say, what do you want to show me? And I'll draw. That's how my angel, what do you want to show me? And the thing is not to critique it, not to critique what you write, not to critique what you're drawing. If your way of expression or of being still is going to take a walk, go and take a walk and ask the question. We don't get answers if we don't ask. So I do feel like that's important, but I also feel like it's important of what we ask, because some things we just will not get answers for. So be mindful of what you're asking, and then be mindful, feel that energy shift and feel that knowing. Don't second guess. A lot of times we think things as coincidence, like just me bringing up the topic that Michael wanted to talk about earlier. If we're both prompted, there's a reason.
Yeah. And automatic writing, I do that myself because it's hard for me to be objective. So if I need something for me and I want to get out of my own head, I grab the pen and I just ask the question and I just start writing. Especially if I'm communicating with my sister or my brothers, I'm like, yeah, I feel them, and yeah, I'm getting the messages, and they're like, you really grabbing a pen? I'm freaking telling you right now what you need to hear. So I'm like, yep, give me the pen, because
yeah, that's actually been one of the best ways for me. And sometimes I will write the question, I will set the paper down, and then I will come back when I have that quiet. It might be 30 minutes, it might be 40 minutes, but when I feel it, when I feel that shift, like, okay, here it comes, it's time to write, because you don't want to force yourself to write, then I will sit down and I will just start writing.
I'm going to do a workshop on that, because it comes up all the time during my readings. So I know Lisa's in the local area, so maybe Lisa, remind me someday. We'll do a workshop on automatic writing. That will be fun, because I love automatic writing. It's so beneficial in so many ways.
I do too. I have notebooks and notebooks full. And so there are a lot of different ways, but that's a way I would recommend. Don't even worry if your things are spelled wrong, if you have run-on sentences, if it makes no sense while you're writing it, it doesn't matter. Keep writing.
Oh, I need an interpreter after mine, because I can't spell, I can't punctuate, I don't have no grammar. So I'm like, did I write this in freaking hieroglyphics? What the hell did I write?
I do that in my sleep. I will automatic write in my sleep.
Yeah, I know, you sent me some of those, and I'm like, what the hell do you do during your sleep?
Yeah, I'll have a notebook and a pen, and I lay a certain way, and it's right by I will write. I'll wake up some mornings with a notebook full of just crazy stuff.
Oh yes, I'll do it online too, everybody, because I've seen people. I will definitely. I will have time after June 24th when I no longer do air traffic control. So yes, I'm always looking for ideas for workshops. So reach out.
Literally just do the exercise right there and learn. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We got 5 minutes. All
right. Do you want to pull a card
I
for the
put my cards
collective?
away because I'm just
Okay.
rambling. I grab them, shuffle, and then I talk. So
Do you have a collective message?
No, you do the card, but can you read it without your magnifying glass?
No, I can't. I can read the self-care cards though.
Okay.
Okay, so give me just a second here.
We got 5 minutes. 4 minutes now. 4 minutes.
Okay, so but first I want to show you guys something. And I did show this to Michael, but I don't think he's seen the finished product. So I showed you the angel that I drew. And the other day I sat down to draw something. He knows what's coming. I never know what they're going to be. I don't critique them, but you guys, I'm going to show you this one. I don't know what this is, but I call it Sasquatch Jesus.
Like, what kind of sage are you burning in that shop that you work at?
So I don't know. That makes me laugh because I have some drawings that are like amazing, and then I have some stuff like that I'm like, what in the hell is this? But I saved them all.
My favorite is Putin with a freaking bong or a freaking hookah pipe.
So, but I've always said, like, sometimes I wish I could show people what was inside of my head when I do readings for them, what I'm actually seeing. Thank you, Kathy. And that's a way for me to be able to do it. And I do have a collection of drawings. I continue to draw them. I call them spirit art. And pretty soon you're going to start seeing them up across here because I'm going to do that. So if you see somebody you recognize, just know I may have seen them. I know. I was dying. I was laughing so hard, Kathy, I could hardly finish it. I looked at it. I'm like, what is this? Okay, here's the card. And it's movement. Okay. So this is a really, really great card because to me, this talks about moving things. I feel with this card, not only physical movement, but I feel like that this is movement within ourselves. We got to move through stagnant energy. We got to get rid of stuck feelings. We got to get rid of negativity. We have to move it through. That doesn't mean we don't allow it. We have to allow it. We have to feel it, but we have to move it through. And so that's what I feel like with, like, just don't sit in it. Don't sit in the stuff. Move it through. Keep moving. Just movement. Keep moving forward. Move your body. But definitely start moving the emotions. Start moving the things that keep you stuck. Okay, they're only stuck there because you're not moving them. So start moving them.
Clear them chakras,
clear it away.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us today. We'll be back next week. And who the hell knows what's going to go on?
You never know.
We never know what kind of picture Jen's going to have for us.
I'm going to have a gallery right across here. And he is going to be the first.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.